Excuse me, sir. Sir, we're starting the meeting.
Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. I am Carolina Mejia, Chair of the Board. I am joined today by Vice Chair Ty Menser, who's joining us via Zoom, Commissioner Gary Edwards to my left. To my right is County Manager Ramiro Chavez, as well as the Clerk of the Board, Amy Davis. This meeting is being live streamed through our YouTube channel. So I'm calling this meeting to order. It is 2:01 p.m. First, we're going to do a Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Edwards.
And Greg, I believe you're going to do this for us?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the
republic for which it stands,
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Vice Chair Menser, would you like to do a land acknowledgement?
Sure, thank you. We would also like to start today's meeting with a land acknowledgement and acknowledge the Indigenous Salish peoples who have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and remember history as a stepping stone towards healing.
Thank you. Next, we'll do the approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I would move approval of the proposed agenda for today's January 11th meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menser,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia.
Aye. Next item is our approval of board meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve board meeting minutes from January 4th, 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menser,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia.
Aye. Okay, next is opportunity for the public to address the board. I'm going to go over some guidelines for public comments to the Board of County Commissioners. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public at all meetings. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. The general speaking guidelines are: please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones. The board does not respond to public comments. On a need basis, the county manager will follow up with specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for good cause. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion for a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 RCW. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the Board on Appeal. Thank you so much for your cooperation. So with that, we'll start. And on my list today, I have Mr. Terry Ballard.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Terry Ballard. I reside in Tanglewild, which is unincorporated
I
Thurston
apologize for
County.
that. Sorry about that.
I downloaded all your ordinances, all your resolutions on a piece of paper. I'm very discouraged by this. Out of 119 posted through 30 November, as of 6 January, 6 were approved, but you didn't have a meeting. 23 were missing. 10 just in the month of November. Now, I did see a bunch of posted today. There was 20 posted a day. Really? They had a 17 December date on it, but one of your commissioners decided to be honest and signed it on the date that he received it and signed it. That's kind of funny because a resolution needs to be going in there for an appeal within 20 days. It's past 20 days. I'm just like, and a FOIA request, FOIAs are a joke here in Thurston County. Mr. Pettit asked for a FOIA request on Mr. Romero over there for transcripts to validate, and you know what? That was in 19 November. He just got another extension. I wonder what the extensions are for. I asked for a listing of the letters by the nationally recognized veteran service organizations. Mrs. Mejia also asked for the same thing, and she was adamant on getting it. Well, she's not adamant anymore, okay? And that's a disruption to the veterans. The problem I'm having with people is nobody understands what is going on here. Nobody gets the information. Like today's agenda, nobody has information for any of the documents that are listed on it. So how can I come to a decision on whether I like it or not and present it in the board for my 4 minutes, which you can't even cover one in 4 minutes? You know, this is just really ridiculous. As far as the messaging goes here, how's your crisis going? How's your homeless crisis going? How's your racism crisis going? I'll cover that in Board of Health because it's a Board of Health issue. And I want to know what you're doing, okay? Which is absolutely nothing. You're just doing simply the powerful versus the powerless. You're obstructing the financial well-being, obstructing the greater economic, professional, and personal opportunities of the American people in the county. Your harness, anger, is into, you're harnessing anger, bigotry, racism, which are the worst aspects of the American character. As a leader, what we need to do is harness ability, intelligence, decency, and dignity. You continue to harness a divide of your hate and a divide as far as your history, and you have no clue of what your history is. 13th, 14th, 15th, 19th Amendments. I am not a Republican, I am not a Democrat, but the Democrats refused those amendments. One is suffrage. They refused to sign on there was more people more Democrats that refused to sign on to the 19th Amendment than there was the ones that approved it, okay? The Democratic Party has a history of racism, has a history of slavery, has a history. They also, and I might end that, in 1964 was the Civil Rights Act, signed by LBJ. It opposed it abolished the Jim Crow laws of segregation. And who wrote the Jim Crow laws? History, being a history buff and history major, Democrats. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anyone else on the list. Is there anyone?
Anybody in the boardroom like to provide testimony this afternoon?
No? Okay. Is there anyone on Zoom?
Yeah, let me check. Mr. Doug Carman, like to provide testimony this afternoon?
Did you call me, Romero, Doug Carman?
Yes, Mr. Carman, go ahead. You have 4 minutes.
Yes, I would. Thank you. I'm Doug Carman. I live at 4108 Cairo Road, Southeast in the Lacey Urban Growth Area. And I'm also chair of the Long Lake Management District. I'm here today to ask you to place the drainage design and erosion control manual on the docket for 2022. With climate change, this manual needs review and potential updating. Most of northern Thurston County has a rain-fed aquifer, and therefore stormwater is the main cause of erosion and flooding. From December 23rd through Friday, January 7th, we had 6 inches of rainfall in Lacey, according to AccuWeather. And the elevation of the water in Long Lake went up 9.6 inches. This excess 3.6 inches of water comes from stormwater runoff and aquifer recharge. And there are a number of basements that were flooded and many more that were threatened. And this is only about 3 inches below FEMA's flood stage. Here's an example of one of the things that might need updating. Stormwater retention ponds are a key element in controlling stormwater and are needed for 2 key purposes. First, collection and retention of stormwater to prevent localized flooding. In driving around and looking at the retention ponds in my area, I found that most of them are dry. With all of this rain, that's hard to believe. They're damp, but have little or no standing water in them. Therefore, they're not providing the desired retention function, and this results in a more rapid recharge of the aquifer. Second, filtration of stormwater to prevent stormwater pollutants from entering the aquifer and contaminating the wells and water resources. As shown by the dry ponds, the percolation is too high in these ponds to regulate retention and to slow the introduction of stormwater into the aquifer. Also, this reduces the filtration function, resulting in little control of pollutants contained in the stormwater. With continued construction and stormwater concentration, we will experience even higher water tables in the future. This will cause an increase in flooding and contamination of the aquifer. Therefore, we are asking you to place the drainage design and erosion control manual on the docket for 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Joe Hanna, would you like to provide testimony this afternoon?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, you have 4 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Joe Hanna, East Olympia. I wanted to comment on your planning meeting last week for this week. Commissioner Edwards brought up a question in regards that the Ag Advisory Committee had forwarded to him, and County Manager Romero, I don't think was familiar with it because he said that all of our comment was that we were happy to see that the guidebook was going to be coming out. We did have a question in regards to OPMA and the prior ruling that we received from the county attorney, and has been an issue among the committee. That was based on, the prior ruling was based on an AG opinion, and we asked that that be reviewed. I can send it to all 3 of you, or I can send it to the clerk. But I just wanted to be sure that that was addressed, and that's all I had today. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful week.
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Lulu X. Would you like to provide testimony this afternoon? No. Next, I have the initials SC. Would you like to provide testimony this afternoon? That's it, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Next, we have County Manager's update.
Yeah, thank you. And this to the benefit of the public. This morning, the Board of County Commissioners had a discussion related to the COVID-19 and the current variant there is circulating at a very contagious speed. So the majority of the board this morning decided to close room 280 for public access. So every single board meeting, board briefing, and board work session will be only on a virtual setting. Board meetings will be available via YouTube channel, and also you will have the option to sign up, as we have some members of the public this afternoon, to provide public testimony via a virtual environment. We will also have an option of a phone call, and the phone number is 360-252-9020, and a PIN number will be 1234. We will also have that option on board meetings. Board briefings and board work sessions, you will have those available via live stream in the Thurston County YouTube channel. This will be in place until February 8th, where I will bring this item to the board for reconsideration or reassessment. Not to say the board can take an action in between as they see fit as we move along. That's all I have for you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Chair, could I make a comment on that? Means the county manager
Go ahead.
brought that up.
Mr. Edwards.
I just want people to know that I was the dissenting vote on that particular issue. I think we need to recognize that this Omicron virus is not the nasty critter that its predecessors have been. And we need to learn to get along and live through this. It's not much worse than the flu, unless you are that 1/100% of the individuals that are truly adversely affected. In that case, it's up to you to take care of yourself. You need to stay home and wash your hands or whatever it takes. I think we're making a terrible mistake, and it's a disservice to the public to start closing down government, closing down schools. I might make a note that all through this last couple of years, our private schools in Thurston County and throughout the state all functioned without any problems, and were able to continue on as they are today. So something is amiss with the information that we have been given as legislative officers for the county, county commissioners, if you will. And without good information, we can't make good decisions. So I'm hoping that we can rethink this. You'll probably hear me bring this up quite a bit. We need to get back to some common sense and try to do the public's work in public, not behind closed doors. I realize electronically we're going to try and have everybody in and do the public's business as best we can, but we just have to get back to doing the business that we were put here to do. And you can tell, but this is the democratic system, and I think we have to live by some rules, and the rule is we have a majority vote here closing it down, and that's just the way it's going to be. So I will bring this up periodically to see if I can't reverse this by asking my seatmates to rethink it on occasion. So thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Okay. I do want to, want to follow up on some of your comments that we are not closing all county buildings. It's just going to be these boardrooms. The meetings are still televised via YouTube. County government is still open. So if anyone needs to access that, that is still ongoing. With that, I'll move on to consent items A through F. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to approve consent items 3A through 3F.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Okay. Now for department items, 4A, a ratified proclamation of a local emergency. County Manager?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. As we have been experiencing in the last couple of weeks, the weather conditions have been surprising, to say the least. Begin with snow events. In last weeks, the persistent heavy rain have caused tremendous damage to public infrastructure, landslides, and that put us in the position to open the Emergency Coordination Center, the ECC, to have a coordinated response during those events. As we move along and continue to provide support and be responsive to the emergency, there was a need to declare an emergency. And under RCW 37.52.070 and Thurston County Code 3.02.030, in the absence of having an standing meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, the Director of Emergency Management could declare a declaration of a local emergency, judging the conditions of that emergency. And the Board of County Commissioners, the subsequent session, this is your first subsequent session, you will have the opportunity to either ratify or rescind such proclamation. On January 6, 2022, the Director of Emergency Management, in coordination with the prosecuting attorney and the county manager, declared a local emergency. And for you today, I have an item for you to ratify the proclamation of local emergency the Director of Emergency Services declared back this past week on January 6, 2022. Any questions?
I guess I would just like to point out that we had some unusual weather conditions for sure, besides the bad weather conditions. And although we didn't get it all right at every situation, I do want to compliment Public Works and Emergency Management and other county staff that was out there doing the best they could in an adverse situation with a reduced number of people that were there to help. So they put a yeoman's effort out, and I just want to give them an attaboy for that. And I'm prepared to vote on it. Thank you.
Commissioner Menser?
I have no questions.
So I will just second what Commissioner Edwards stated. A huge thank you to Public Works staff. I know they were on long shifts, and they really were out there and doing the best they could. So with that, I will, there's no more questions. I will entertain a motion.
I move to ratify a proclamation of local emergency issued by the Director of Emergency Management due to extreme weather conditions pursuant to RCW 3852.070 and Thurston County Code 302.030.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
No, sir. No, ma'am.
Okay.
No.
I'll call the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menser,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Now we're on item 5A with Public Health and Social Services. This is in regards to a hotel leasing and rapid rehousing contract amendment with Washington State Department of Commerce. And I believe 5A and 5B are somewhat similar or relating to the same matter. And Thomas Webster is here to present this matter.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tom Webster with Public Health and Social Services. You are correct, Commissioner, that 5A and 5B are related, but we'll take them one at a time. In the 2021 Washington State Legislative Session, House Bill 1277 was passed. That created a new $100 document recording fee. As part of that new revenue, the Department of Commerce budgeted $40 million to be used for hotel leasing and rapid rehousing activities during the 21-23 state fiscal year. Of this amount, Thurston County has received an award of $1,633,401. To access these funds, we were required to submit an application to the Department of Commerce indicating how we would use those funds. On September 28th, 2021, the Board of County Commissioners approved the issuance of a request for proposals to identify projects to support these funds. The Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention worked with the Regional Housing Council to review and select projects for these funds. And on December 7th, we submitted an application to the Department of Commerce. The Department of Commerce has issued these funds through an amendment to the existing interagency agreement for the Consolidated Homeless Grant based on this application. So therefore, this first action, we're requesting you for authority for the county manager to sign an amendment to the Consolidated Homeless Grant, adding $1,633,401 for this purpose. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Mentzer?
Nope.
Okay, if there's no further questions, is there a motion?
I move to approve the Consolidated Homeless Grant Interagency Agreement Amendment between Thurston County and the Washington State Department of Commerce for hotel leasing and rapid rehousing for $1,633,401, and authorize the county manager to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not change the amount by more than 10%.
I'm going to second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I guess I would have just a little bit of discussion on that, and that is that I think our staff is doing what they can for this bum situation. And I will say that these funds are coming in and they come with strings. It isn't like we can go buy a snowplow or something with them, and I'd just like to have the public know that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mentzer?
Nothing.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Okay. It's a 3-0 vote. Item 5B, hotel leasing and rapid rehousing contracts with 6 local nonprofit agencies. Tom, I'll hand it back to you.
Great, thank you. So following up on that last item, with that funding we've received from the Department of Commerce, as I indicated, we put out an RFP to solicit applications for the use of those funds. 6 projects have been identified, and this action is to approve contracts with those agencies. So the 6 agencies that are being recommended for funding are Community Action Council for $100,000 to support rapid rehousing activities, Family Support Center of South Sound for $400,000 to support hotel leasing activities, Level Bounds Here, which is located in Yelm, for $50,000 to support hotel leasing activities, Olympia Mutual Aid Partners for $616,189 to support hotel leasing activities, to the Pierce County AIDS Foundation for $138,210 for rapid rehousing activities, and for Safe Place for $280,000 for both rapid rehousing and hotel leasing activities. And I'm happy to answer any questions about those projects.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Mentzer?
No.
Okay, is there a motion?
Yes, I move to approve 6 contracts between Thurston County and nonprofit organizations for a total value of $1,584,399 for hotel leasing and rapid rehousing activities, and authorize the county manager to sign the contracts and any amendments that do not change the amount by more than 10%.
Second.
And move and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Passes unanimously. Okay, item 5C, Department of Children, Youth, and Families Amendment 1 to Interlocal Agreement, Amendment 22-1173. And Gretchen Ballard is here. I'll pass it to you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Gretchen Thaler, Maternal Child Health Nurse Family Partnership Division Director with Thurston County Public Health and Social Services. I am seeking approval of an amendment to our agreement 22-1173 with the Washington State Department of Children, Youth, and Families for an additional amount of $272,804 to bring the total amount to $1,210,406.55. This contract ends July 31st of 2022, and it funds community health nurses to serve families through the Nurse Family Partnership Program in Thurston, Mason, and Lewis counties, allowing us to serve 60 families in Mason County, 51 families in Thurston County, and 51 families in Lewis County for a total of 162 families. Nurse Family Partnership works with mothers to provide support, resources, and coaching to help families have the best outcomes.
Any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No, I'd just like to thank Gretchen for all she does for our youth.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Commissioner Menzer?
No, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Gretchen. Is there a motion?
Yes, ma'am. I move to approve amendment number 1 to the interlocal agreement 22-1173 with Washington State Department of Children, Youth, and Families for an additional amount of $272,804 for a total of $1,210,406.55 for July 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2022 to provide nurse family partnership services to 162 families in Thurston, Lewis, and Mason counties, and authorize the interim director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Thank you very much.
That action passes. Now to item 5D, which is Washington State Department of Health 2022 to 2024 Consolidated Contract Number CLH 31030. And that's Kurt Harding, our interim director, who's here to present this.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Kurt Hardin, Interim Director for Public Health. I'm requesting the board to approve the 2022 to the 2024 Consolidated Contract CLH 31030 with the Washington State Department of Health and authorize the Public Health Director to sign the contract. This is the base consolidated contract for January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2024 with the Department of Health. The consolidated contract is often referred to as the CON-CON, is a recurring contract that provides one contract between the Department of Health and local health jurisdictions for funding from federal and state sources. For this contract period, the statement of work and funding exhibits will be provided by the Department of Health after the base contract has been fully executed. The statement of work and exhibits are currently being prepared by the Washington State Department of Health. Due to the COVID pandemic, the process has been delayed this year. Normally, this contract is available in the last quarter of the expiring contract year. There are several amendments during the contract period as new funding becomes available. This contract provides federal and state funding for, among other things, foundational public health services, disease prevention and control, maternal and child health, environmental health services, drug user health and prevention programs, and tobacco education and prevention programs. Subject to your questions, I request that you approve this resolution.
Any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
Not necessarily a question. I would just like to mention that we're moving ahead with this without a dollar amount, just so the public knows that, because we're kind of behind the times, and it is millions of dollars, although we don't know the dollar amount. More to come later, I'm sure, as we move forward. So it's a pretty big deal, and I doubt we could get along without it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer?
Nothing,
Questions?
thank you.
Okay. County Manager, you had a question?
I'd like to propose a suggested change on the action. Perhaps Commissioner Mason, you can introduce the word interim before the word director, and that will complement the action, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Are you ready for a motion, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Okay. I move to approve the State of Washington Department of Health 2022 to 2024 Consolidated Contract CLH 31030 and authorize the Interim Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the contract.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
No.
Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. And it passes unanimously, okay. And then I see someone's hand raised on Zoom, Ramiro.
Yes, Lulu X, you have your hand up by any chance?
Am I able to make a public comment?
Ma'am, I called your name when it was on the portion of public testimony. Unfortunately, that portion of the meeting has ended. So, and at this point, we will not be able to take your testimony. Would you like to
It's a
send?
little bit unfair that we're only allowed to give testimony before we hear the agenda and before we hear the board speak.
Yes, that is the format that we currently have, and I will welcome any written testimony that you like to provide. Thank you.
Moving forward.
No, I would like to speak in response to the member who was speaking about
Ma'am,
COVID.
Sorry, ma'am, you're out of order.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to stop you. Thank you.
You have a eugenicist in that room right now using eugenicist.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, we'll continue on with item 5E. Treatment Sales Tax Community Grant Request for Proposals, and Carrie Hanna is here. Carrie, I'll hand it off to you.
Thanks. Good afternoon, Carrie Hanna, Thurston County Public Health and Social Services Treatment Sales Tax Program Manager, and I'm here today to ask your approval to release a request for proposals funded through the treatment sales tax. As you know, treatment sales tax is local funding collected through our sales tax to support behavioral health treatment and supportive services that relate to treatment. Through the Board of County Commissioners budget deliberations for the 2022-2023 budget, the board set aside additional funding for treatment sales tax community grants in the amount of $400,000 per year in the current year and next year. This request for proposals sort of kicks off that process, inviting proposals from community organizations that would develop programming related to behavioral health. So the plan with your approval would be to release a request for proposals tomorrow, January 12th, and proposals will be due February 3rd. After that point, a committee made up of Treatment Sales Tax Advisory Committee members and some subject matter experts will review proposals and come back to the Board of County Commissioners with a funding recommendation. I'll take any questions you may have.
Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Mentzer?
Just a comment that this amount is a 60% increase over previous year's allocation toward these community grants. So I'm excited about being able to have that based on our stronger sales tax revenues that we've had this last year.
Okay, with that, is there a motion?
Yes, I would make a motion to approve the 2022 request for proposals for Thurston County Public Health and Social Services to receive applications related to treatment sales tax community grants.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Okay, with that, we are on item 6. And 6A is Commissioners will report on board work sessions and assigned committee meetings, providing updates on actions taken as well as upcoming issues. Commissioner Edwards.
I think I'll just stick to, I'll mention this because the public's here. I did mention it last week. At TCOM, there really wasn't anything big going on, although Keith is going to be retiring, and that's coming up. The Fair Board, we talked about the possibility of having a building. We're doing mass inoculations, I guess, over there, and testing.
Right now it's testing.
On a regular basis, and maybe the possibility of using some of this COVID money to put a better building in place. So that was on my committee reports, and my constituent issues were just lots of calls and concerns about the flooding event that we were dealing with, and then the ongoing COVID vaccine mandate questions and comments, and which I've stated earlier, I think we need to get on with life. So that's where I'm at on that. Anyway, that'll do for me, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer?
Yes. Things I attended beyond board activities included Innovative Justice Meeting, the New Employees Orientation, the Rochester Grand Mountain Chamber of Commerce meeting, the State Association of Counties virtual assembly regarding COVID-19 data, and a ton of work on COVID-19, just really immersing myself in the new data with respect to Omicron and how things are progressing there. Some planning work for the Climate Action Steering Committee. We're preparing for the 2022 year and laying out a work plan program for the schedule for the year. And this is the point, my seatmates beat me to it, but I wanted to give a big thank you to the Public Works employees that worked and the other emergency management, other county staff that were involved in the emergency response to the extreme weather events. You know, comparing, I'm not out there on the ground with them, but from where I sat, what we did this year compared to how it was in 2019, I feel like it was a lot more coordinated response. I think we learned a lot of lessons last time, and I feel like there were just as difficult issues and they were managed very, very efficiently by staff. So thank you to all of those folks.
Thank you. For me, I guess, since our commissioners check-in on Thursday, on Friday, I had a meeting with Council Member Marty Campbell from Pierce County in regards to the meat processing plant. And this is for Commissioner Edwards. I know that he's very interested in this topic as well. We were in a meeting with Congresswoman Strickland, and I asked a question about would there be any more funds available for food sustainability and accessibility, at which point I brought up that Thurston County is really interested in setting up a meat processing plant. Councilmember Campbell was there, and he mentioned that Pierce County was also looking into that possibility. So I set up a meeting with and brought forth our staff, as long as the EDC and Stephen Bramwell and just different players, and Pierce County brought different of their staff members, and we had a very fruitful discussion, and they're really interested in partnering with us and really setting up a meat processing plant, not only for Thurston County, but for the region, which I think is pretty great. And they're willing to go invest in this with us. So I'm very excited on that. I know staff is working with them, and they will be coming forth with a proposal pretty soon. Okay, other matters. I attended the WASAC legislative session. I don't have much to report on that. I've just been meeting with different staff members. Yesterday was the 22 elections canvassing board meeting where Auditor Mary Hall walked me basically through the process of a canvassing board, and after that it was the WASAC virtual assembly and the RHC funding work group. Not much to report on that since the beginning of the year. Okay, with that, any other items? So I'll move on to item 6B, which is the county manager will review the Board of County Commissioners schedule for the week of January 11th, 2022.
Thank you, commissioners. Let me walk you through your combined schedule, where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. This will not be part of my report. Starting here in a few minutes at 3:30, you have your regular Board of Health meeting. And start tomorrow, Wednesday, January 12th, to emphasize room 280. The boardroom will be closed to public access. All the meetings, work sessions will be live streamed, and those will be available to the public to follow along. So tomorrow, you have 8 o'clock an executive session related to the solid waste contract from 8 to 10. Wednesday, January 12th, at 11:30, you have an event at the Hotel RL, I believe, that's the new name. And this will be sponsored by the Thurston County Chambers, and that will be the State of the Community. At 1:30 in the afternoon, tomorrow, January 12th, you have a briefing related to the 2022-2023 preliminary dockets of the Development Code as well as comprehensive plan amendments. Thursday, January 13th, at 9 in the morning, you have a joint work session with the Nisqually Tribe Council. 10 in the morning, January 13th, you have your regular commissioners check-in, and an agenda will be posted, has been posted, will be revised as well. Thursday, January 13th at 1:30 in the afternoon, we have the Jail Resources Team, JRT meeting. Friday, January 14th, nothing on your combined schedule. Monday, January 17th, the courthouse county offices will be closed in observance of the Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And then you will convene back again on Tuesday, January 18th, 9 in the morning for your regular agenda setting. In the afternoon, you have a regular board meeting at 2 in the afternoon. And then you have a couple of public hearings. One is related to the Development Code docket item, places of worship. And also at 7 in the evening on that day, you have a public hearing jointly with the Tumwater City Council related to proposed annexations within the city of Tumwater. That's all I have for you.
Thank you.
I do have a question of the county manager.
Go ahead, sir.
Sir, you made note that we are going to have a in-person meeting at the Red Lion, did you say, the hotel right over here?
Yes, I have reached out to the chambers and they do not have a virtual option at this point.
Well, I would just like to say that I use this as an example that, you know, we're trying to have kids learn remotely. It doesn't work. We ask citizen input remotely. This earlier comment by someone, I don't know who it was, it doesn't work well. So why do we keep promoting that? We're going to be in a room with 100 other people in person. I'm sure we're going to wear a mask and try to be as safe as we can, but other people realize that we have to go on with life and continue. So I think it's hypocritical, and the public gets a mixed message from us when we do things like, no, we're going to close this, but we're going to go to that. And the school's going to be closed, but all the private schools are open. So I just use that as an example, clarifying with your comments, sir, that it just doesn't make sense to me that we do in-person someplace much more, if you want to think a threat, much more of a threat than here. But anyway,
just to follow up.
Obviously, I don't agree with what's going on, but I do respect the democratic process.
May I follow up with that? The Chambers event tomorrow is not a county-sponsored event. So that puts a little bit of a different perspective, if I may.
Well, it just doesn't make sense to the public is my concern.
Okay, it is 2:49. Commissioner Menser, do you have?
There's a comment, I think.
Well, I just wanted to say, I don't think it made sense to the public why the county boardrooms were open and Lacey and Olympia and Tumwater and Lacey and Olympia were not. So, I mean, there's not any way to get perfect consistency. There's too many people in control of too many schedules and events, and we're dealing with a rapidly evolving, virus and crisis, and we're doing the best we can under difficult circumstances.
Okay. Being that it's 2:49 and we still have time before our board meeting, and that there was one person who wanted to make public comment, I'm going to ask my seatmates if they're okay on giving this one person 4 minutes. This is not usually the custom that we follow, but
We're in an unusual situation.
yeah, well, so.
Sure, it's fine. I'm okay.
That's fine.
The chair's prerogative, ma'am.
So Ms. Lulu X, You will have 4 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate being given the opportunity to speak. I'm sorry, I'm not sure the name of the man who was speaking about the COVID response, but I'd just like to address a couple things you said.
Ma'am,
Specifically the fact that
I'm sorry, can you please state your name for the record and where you reside?
Lulu, I live in Tumwater.
Thank you.
And so, yeah. So what I specifically wanted to address is just like starting with the fact that you're saying that people who are vulnerable to the virus should just wash their hands. We've known for at least a year and a half that fomite transmission is incredibly rare. It's not a concern. And by fomite transmission, in case you don't know what that means, since you don't seem that educated on this, that means transmission via touching things that would be mitigated by washing your hands. So right there, just you saying that shows that you do not have the scientific knowledge or understanding to be talking about this at all. Cases in Thurston County right now are 17 times higher than they were at the peak that they had ever been previously during COVID. So your language about how we need to go on business as usual and how people who are vulnerable need to just deal with it and stay home or die or whatever it is eugenicist hate speech. And I'm extremely distressed to hear that in a board meeting in my county. I think that you should not talk about things that you don't understand and speak to public health experts. I think you should speak to people who are working at the hospitals right now that will say they do not have the staffing capacity, they do not have the equipment capacity. This is a crisis, and you are spouting eugenicist hate speech in a public board meeting, and that is disgusting. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, it is, time went away, 1 second.
Go ahead.
2:52, and I will adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.